Facebook recently changed its name to Meta, but for investors in the company, does this move make sense? Meta stock is one of my largest investments, and really a lot has changed since Facebook got its start all the way back in 2004. Mark Zuckerberg has taken the company from zero to over $85 billion in revenue in 2020, as you can see in this chart. And it continues to grow with over $112 billion in trailing 12-month revenue. That's really impressive growth for a company of its size. Facebook reaches over 2.9 billion monthly active users today. In some countries like the US, growth has slowed, but the company is really improving its monetization and it's expanding into new horizons, pun intended. With the recent Facebook Connect event, Mark announced a name change to Meta. And of course, plenty of people have pointed out that this is a PR move. But the main intention is to really better align with where he hopes the company is going. Current hardware providers such as Apple have a lot of control over Facebook, so Mark is hoping to own a stake in the next major computing platform. It's a big bet, and Meta is already investing massively into these future technologies. Facebook bought Oculus VR for $2.3 billion back in 2014. Since it's launched multiple VR headsets, and it's a relatively new Quest 2 headset, it's outsold all the others combined. It was priced pretty competitively. And some estimates put the total number of sales for all those VR headsets coming closer to 10 million units. When compared to Facebook's main revenue, this really just is a drop in the bucket, but it's a very promising trend to see. And starting in Q4 2021, Facebook will report revenue and operating profit for two separate segments. So you're going to have family of apps, which includes Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. And then the other segment is going to be Facebook Reality Labs. Now, with this separated or the segmentation, that's going to give us some new insight. We should have a better idea of how Meta's AR and VR efforts are coming along. In the Connect presentations, they also emphasize that it's gonna take many years to help build out the metaverse. This is really a long-term play, and Facebook Reality Labs, it's already gonna reduce overall 2021 operating profit by roughly $10 billion. And these expenses are gonna continue to grow, but really they're investments in future revenue growth. Of course, this meta pivot, it's early stages, and it might not pay off as expected. At this level of spending, it's a pretty big risk for investors. One of the featured speakers at Facebook Connect was John Carmack. He's a well-known video game developer and engineer. He left his role as CTO of Oculus in 2009, but he stuck around as a consultant. And he was unscripted and quite candid in his presentations. For a few of his comments that really stood out, I want it to exist, but I have pretty good reason to believe setting out to build the metaverse is not actually the best way to end up or to wind up with the metaverse. And another comment, but here we are, Mark Zuckerberg has decided that now is the time to build a metaverse. So enormous wheels are turning and resources are flowing, and effort is definitely going to be made. Based on these and some other comments, Carmack, he seemed a little salty with Mark Zuckerberg's approach to the metaverse. It sounds like he might have been kept, or he's being kept out of the loop with some of the larger metaverse plans. Meta is working on cryptocurrency and a wide range of other tech that might play nicely with the metaverse. There were questions on NFTs and digital property rights and a wide range of other things. So kind of stepping back, when I bought shares of Facebook, back in 2018, I predicted the company valuation would more than double to $1 trillion. Luckily, that's already happened. There has been a little bit of a correction, but it happened nonetheless. And back then, I did make a second prediction that the company would start paying a dividend within the next 5 years. But with this big push into the metaverse, I doubt we're going to see a dividend anytime soon. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. Meta has some huge technical barriers to overcome to make VR mainstream. But if that happens, that'll be huge for shareholders going forward. Even in the face of constant criticism, Mark Zuckerberg has a great track record of success. As Facebook's largest shareholder, he's putting his money where his mouth is, and I believe the potential for AR and VR, it's huge going forward. I haven't owned a VR headset since 2016, but I was already impressed with how far it had come back then. And since there have only been more breakthroughs, and now with billions and billions more being pumped into R&D, I'm excited to say the least. So my plan is to continue holding Meta stock, and if there's a continued downturn, I might pick up more shares. Thanks for stopping by today, and if you want to see when and where I'm investing, feel free to subscribe. And as always, I'd really appreciate it if you just tap the like button down below, because that helps out with the YouTube search algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope to see you next time.